What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is United vs. Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and we are back today because honestly, there's not a whole lot of news going on, unless you want to see, a 12,000th video on is today the day for Embuemo, Inter interested in Hoyland, Gyökeres, what's happening? I know you guys are tired of it. Nothing's happening. I'm not going to waste your time with all sorts of... I did this again. I always forget to turn my volume down, so sorry about that. But I don't want to waste your time with more of the same video with a different thumbnail. So this also, though, this is kind of cool because it gives me an opportunity to do fun videos like today, mass scouting reports, interesting stuff like the keep sell video Dylan and I did a couple weeks ago. Go check that one out. Season 2 finale of What If. That was a fun video to do to kind of break up the monotony. That one has drops, so go check that out as well. The Kickabout show that Dylan and I did last week, they were going to do regular on this channel. All that kind of stuff are fun to do when there's not really a whole lot of news to discuss. So anyway, that's what we're here to do today. We're talking all things goalkeepers today. You guys see the thumbnail, you see the title, your interest is piqued, and know it is. That's what we're looking into today. But before we do all that, you guys, please make sure that you are liking the video. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you are new. Go check out the memberships to learn how you can get more and more involved in the channel, the content we create, everything. You guys play an active role in that, so I want to reward the members for that. Check the video description for links to all sorts of fun stuff, goodies, bonuses, everything. Things like GoGoalShop, save $5 when you use that code to register. The UVE store, go check that out. Fubo for all your match watching stuff, and even they've got stuff other than matches on Fubo. There's a link to that in the description too. Kitbag, link to Kitbag. They've hooked me up with that, so I think you can go save 10% off right now if you use that link. Go check out Kitbag. Fanatics, you guys know that I'm a big fan of Fanatics. I've got tons of stuff for there. And then also for the next few months, I will be try my best to throw out support for a fundraiser that my wife is doing. You guys know my wife is a board member and volunteer at Detroit Animal Care and Control, and as a partnership with the Michigan Animal Welfare Foundation. She is doing fundraiser right now to try to get some extra stuff in for the dogs at the shelter because there's not a whole lot of room for those dogs to run around. They've got like 200 dogs there at any given point in time, a couple of small yards. They're trying to get access to some more space and things. So she is doing a fundraiser right now. And even if you can't yourself commit and contribute, there's no pressure. It's no problem. If you can't, that's fine. Please consider sharing it with somebody. Every little bit helps, you guys. And like I said yesterday when I talked about this, anything that you guys do for the channel, any of the membership fees, any of the super chats, any of that stuff, anything you guys order on the United vs. Everybody store, anything that the channel gets from that, that's going to go towards that. I'm going to cut her a check and do a donation for that too. It's not going to me. It's going to the animal shelter. You can see my wife there with one of the dogs at the shelter. She's funny. But please consider that, you guys. Always appreciate it. So just want to make sure I am giving that a shout out at the moment. So thank you guys for letting me take a moment to talk about that. How's everyone doing today? Everyone doing all right? And the link for that is in the description as well. You guys can go straight there from the link. So everybody enjoying their Saturday. I'm not gonna lie, it's crazy hot here. Let me see who's in the chat right now. Big up, Danny. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope it's not too hot where you are. It's crazy hot here. Hopefully YouTube doesn't crap out on me like it did yesterday. I read anyone who jumped on yesterday on the news show, YouTube was crapping out, and I was reading online that a lot of people are having issues with YouTube. So hopefully we get straight through this today. But big up, Danny. Big up, Casper. Good to see you again, my friend. Hope everybody's having a good weekend so far. Box, always love to see Box in the chat, man. Big up, man. Hope you're doing well. Rajat, big up, dude. How are you doing, Rajat? Casper does not want Muhammad's Kudus. That's funny. Danny, big up, man. Good to see you. I know your wife is big into animals, right? You said she volunteers and walks dogs and things. Yeah, it's needed. It's crazy the amount of breeding and the whatnot that happens around here. And the shelters are they're crowded AF, man. So it's been crazy. Casper says, been having some problems with my tablet chargers. Haven't been here a few days. Oh, it's no problem, man. Glad you got it sorted. Glad to see you back, man. Big up, my guy. Danny says a low 80s. Dude, it is going to be literally 100 degrees these next couple days here. I am not looking forward to it. Told my wife, no, we're not using the oven. We're not doing any of that. We're just, we're going to go prep some things. We got the slow cooker ready to go. We got a little air fryer ready to go. Nothing oven related. I keep all the curtains closed all day during the summer. And so, but I don't really have to run the AC until like 3 in the afternoon is typically when it gets up to like maybe 72 in the house. So that's been helpful. Casper says it's still crazy hot again, man. It's summer. It is what it is. And then, with the heat comes the thunderstorms. So we've been dealing with that. Bach says that Club World Cup looks too hot to play in. Yeah, I saw who was talking about this? I think it was talking about on Sirius XM that they were talking about some players were complaining about that. But this is what MLS players have to play in. So most players in Europe get the summer off, right? But then you've got like the Argentinian leagues, the Norwegian leagues, players in the MLS, they got to play in this heat all the time because the Club World Cup's in the US, right? So welcome to the kitchen. It's freaking hot, dude. But anyway, let's dive into the video, guys. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Get involved in that fun little poll. It's just one of the fun polls. So let's start first and foremost with why I'm doing this video, and that is Andre Onana. He's just bad. He's just bad, you guys. His decline since joining Manchester United from Inter has been painful to watch, like physiologically painful to watch. And you can see the decline in his numbers. Like this was his first season at United. So 23-24, you could see he had a high save percentage, which was interesting. Now, he probably did face a lot more shots. Remember, we conceded a lot of shots back then. Remember, that was the name of the game in 23-24 from all the pundits, all the media. Look how many shots United are conceding. Look how many shots United are conceding. Yeah, so when you're making a lot of saves because we're conceding a lot of shots, that is going to look like that. But you can see a lot of his other numbers were really not that good. Barely, clean sheet percentage. I don't look a lot into clean sheets with keepers because I think that's more of a team thing. Touches. Don't read too much into touches for keepers either, because when your system is playing out from the back, your keeper is going to get a lot more touches than an average keeper. So that was him the first season. This was him this past season, so 24-25. Very, very little in there that was above average. Again, touches, while still numerous, lower than it was. And now you can see the average length of his goal kicks has increased because teams are just pressing us too much. So he's just launching things a lot more and it's not going anywhere. But you can see, I'll go back to that first one, stark decline, even just from his first season at United to last season, right? And it's funny to think like that he's only been here 2 seasons. Like he's only been here 2 seasons, you guys. We literally signed in the same summer we signed Rasmus Højlund, for instance. So the numbers are one thing when it comes to Onana. We can look at the numbers and we can say, God, that's awful. But even just watching him play, right, the errors, they're starting to add up. Like if you had a fish counter and you just started clicking every time Onana had just a bad moment, like you'd have to get another fish counter. You'd run out. And the numbers, the errors are adding up and they're starting to infuriate, especially the ones that cost us matches or trophies, i.e. this past Europa League final. He simply has to go is the bottom line. I'm trying not to be mean. I'm not being cruel. I'm not making it personal. I'm just saying, you know what? You had your chance. Same as Anthony, same as Højlund, and you're done. Like, it just is what it is. You had 2 years and you're getting worse. And I've seen conflicting reports about Andre Onana's future. We got reports that he wants to stay, fight for his place. We've got reports that United aren't actively looking to sell him right now, which I think is ridiculous. We got reports the other day that we talked about yesterday. Monaco maybe want him. Monaco as president has not shied away from saying, like, we want to replace, we need a new keeper. Said that last spring. So we'll see what happens there. But of course, it's all rumors and paper talk so far, but it doesn't change the fact that Onana is a net negative. He has and he will continue to cost us. So the question of today is who do we replace him with? That's what we're talking about. I have half a dozen or so names that I want to go through, not including some that we've recently kind of talked about a little bit more. Refresher. Welcome to the channel, Refresher. Obama played badly. Onana couldn't say politics. You're funny. Gosh, as we get Emi Martinez, do we still get a new goalkeeper? We're letting Andre Onana go. I think we only get Emi Martinez if Onana is going. I don't think we're getting any keeper unless Onana goes, man. So big up, Sanjay. Good to see you again, my friend. Good to see you, my guy. You guys are funny. Raja says, let outside Bayindir go. It seems like outside Bayindir is on his way out. He's probably not. He was a starter in Turkey, and now he's just played a handful of matches here. But He hasn't exactly covered himself in glory, has he, Altai Binder? That Arsenal match was a one-off. Box says Onana's kicking has looked a bit ropey. His kicking has never been his strong suit. Literally, the thing Onana does best is just composure on the ball. Like, he's good with the ball at his feet. That's why we bought him. A lot of people will tell you it's because of his distribution. That's not why. Ten Hag's system builds out from the back. Onana is good with the ball at his feet. Way better than De Gea. You have to give him his flowers there, but everything else is just so bad that it's not worth it. Casper still wants Emi Martinez. So we're going to talk all about some of this stuff here. So let's dive into this. So I didn't include guys like Chevalier or Carnesecchi, just simply because we've talked about them a little bit more recently. I went a little in depth with Carnesecchi yesterday because he was the newest name that we were linked with interest. So doesn't mean I don't want him, but I'm not going to be a little bit redundant with that. We've already talked about them a little bit. Suffice it to say, they are on my list. And you won't see Emi Martinez on my list today, mostly just because we've talked about him ad nauseum so far. But I just don't rate him. Remember, this is not a list of who we're linked with. This is a list of who I would look at to replace Onana, and I would not look at Emi Martinez to replace Onana. Doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong if you disagree. Just this is my list, and that's just, we've talked about the reasons why. I showed you the reasons why. We've discussed it. I think that my stance on it is pretty well known. There are one or two that I also have on the back burner, but I have to see more games from them, like Martin van de Voort at Leipzig. He was starting when he was in the Belgian league, came to Leipzig, and Galachi's still kind of keeping Van de Voort on the bench. Now, I think Van de Voort is excellent keeper, but I want to see more of him at Leipzig to get a little. So those kind of things. So a few of the guys we're going to talk about today, we've discussed briefly here and there on the channel. We haven't done a whole lot of in-depth analysis, and some of you might not be as familiar with them. That doesn't mean you're an idiot or anything. It's just not everyone is a nerd like me and wants to look at all these keepers and watch the Belgian league. Like, who here watches the Belgian league? Like, I do. But that's what we're here to do. So I'm doing all the hard work for you, so you don't have to worry about it so much. I'm not saying that this is the be-all, end-all of who these players are and anything you need to know, but it's a good little starting point, in my opinion. So that's what we're going to do today. Box likes Diogo Costa, Chevalier as well. Danny says, wouldn't pay crazy money for a keeper anymore. Yeah, I don't think we need to personally, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So Casper says he thinks Andre should go for sure. Danny says, I want a keeper that's best strengths is defending corners, commanding his box. You're speaking my language, yeah. And I'd kind of say those are very interconnected. You got to be able to make saves, and you got to not be afraid to come off your line and just control your area. Now, it doesn't mean you need to be a sweeper or anything, but you need to know that, on a corner, defending crosses, you come out and plow through everybody that's in your way to get rid of that ball or catch it, whatever you got to do. That's what I like to see. Shot stopping is first priority. You got to be a good shot stopper. That's for me. So let's see. Box says most players cost crazy money. Well, we saw a bit of a spike in center backs and keepers. Now the center back spike is continuing a little bit. Keepers spiked with like Ederson, Allison, these guys, Kepa. And I think that was because people were starting to realize the value of a good defender and a good keeper. Clean sheets guarantee you points. You can spend £100 million on a striker who scores 4 goals, but you could still lose a match if you concede 5. So a good defender and a good keeper are worth their weight in gold. The problem is that in recent years, managers, I think, in my opinion, and this includes Ten Hag to an extent, maybe includes Amorim, Pep, definitely. The focus has been too much on these keepers who are good on the ball that they're not great at other things, in my opinion, the required things. And so I think that's been a problem personally, but we'll see what we're doing here. So let's dive in, you guys, starting with a guy we've talked about a couple times, not really gone in depth on, and that's Sen Lammens. You guys have heard me talk about this guy many, many times. 6'4", big keeper, 4 times team of the week this week. As you see, he plays in the Belgian league for Royal Antwerp. Very young keeper. He is the youngest keeper on my list, I believe, at 22 years old. Now, he's very good at claiming crosses, very, very good at shot stopping as well. And he's got a very, very low market value right now. Very, very low. Now, you can see here, look at some of his numbers. His save percentage, top 3%. And he's very, very good at penalty saves as well, top 8% as well. And then what I like, literally, if you look at this commanding the area here, literal top percent for stopping crosses, for coming out and claiming those crosses, which I absolutely love. The guy is a very good young keeper. He's probably one of the hottest young up and coming keepers out there at the moment. Now, is he an improvement? You tell me. So Onana's in red. So you can see again, the things that Onana excels at are the kicks, the goal kicking. And all that tells you is that the percentage of his kicks that are goal kicks and how long they are doesn't tell you anything else. That's not necessarily something to go off of. But when you look at the completion percentage of these passes, Lamens has got him beat. Cross is stopped. The save percentage as well, save percent on penalty kicks. Lamens has easily got Onana beat in every single metric that you can think of that matters, I would argue. Lamens is the 6th rated player in the Belgian league last season. And I mean player, not just keeper. He's not 6th rated keeper. He was the 6th highest rated player on SofaScore in the Belgian league, the whole league. 2nd in the league for saves per 90. He was literally just 0.1 behind the league leader. So basically tied for top for saves per 90. 3rd for prevented goals. Again, up and comer in the Belgian league. He's been one of the standout keepers in Europe, really turning heads right now. He's got an excellent command of his box. He's got stellar shot stopping. Linked to United this season already. A lot of other clubs are reportedly interested. And I've seen price tag of around 15 to 20 million pounds. Debasi, he is 6'4", and big up Debasi too. I didn't think I noticed that. You did this right when I left yesterday. But Debasi is the newest member of the channel. Debasi is a Legends member. I saw him sneak that in right before I clicked to stop the stream. So I wanted to make sure I gave you a shout out. Thank you for stopping by. But big up Debasi for being the newest member of the channel. Love to see that. But big up Debasi. Appreciate that, my guy. Love to see everybody getting involved like that, man. And like I said, anything that like the membership fees, the super chats, all that stuff that comes right now for the next couple months until this massive fundraising event for my wife's charity on the 9th of August, all that will go towards that as well. So you're helping out Debasi by doing that. Anybody's doing that right now is going towards that as well. Appreciate that, my guy. Big up. Love to see everybody getting involved. Danny says, that's why I keep Vitek just in case. Yeah, I would like to keep Vitek. The problem is Vitek is good enough to go start, and I don't think he's going to want to stay and be a backup. And that's the problem. We have to make a choice with Onana. I worry we don't have a good track record with our academy keepers. You got guys like Joel Pereira, John Stone, and Henderson, and Kovar, and now Vitek. We don't tend to keep these guys around. We tend to use them as profit. So, but he is, yes. And yeah, Debasi, he's a very good reach. He's very good reflex. He uses his reach too. That's what I like about it. He commands his box by realizing, oh wait, not only am I tall, but I'm usually going to be pretty protected by the refs. And I'm the only player on this side of the pitch that can use my hands in these situations. So I'm going to add about 3 more feet to this. There should be no excuse for a keeper to not come out and reach any of that stuff. The only thing that keeps from doing it is mentality. Raja says, might as well go out and get Verbruggen. Yeah, if you want to go spend it, you might as well just assume that any player you get from Brighton is going to be minimal 50 million. Just, it is what it is. They're going to ask for a lot. Debasi says, anything that helps your cause. Well, you're helping my wife, man. I will let her know, man, that you're helping out, man. I appreciate that. Big up, Debasi. Good to see you again, my friend. Lyle, good to see you. Every time I see you, I laugh because I look at your Riley avatar. But I'll hail the chat. Robert Zeller, there's a name from the past. He originally at Leicester for a minute. I remember him. Big up, Box. So 15 to 20 million pounds could get you Sen Lamens. I've said a few times already, if for some reason United don't get any offers, or we're not in a hurry to sell Onana, or God forbid Onana is here next season, and no one makes an offer and we're stuck with him, I said it a couple times, go buy Sen Lamens now, spend the 15, 20 million and loan him back to Antwerp for the next season. And maybe we can get rid of Onana next year. Liverpool did that with Marmaras-Vili this past season. Chelsea are getting ready to do that with Giovanni Quenda. Just, there's nothing wrong with that. Lamens is still young enough to where that could be just fine for him. Let him go get some more experience. Let him go get another year under his belt and then bring him in. Bish bash bosh, to quote Alice, talks football. Pick up the legends. You know where that's from. It's always funny when she says that. I just bit myself in the same exact spot on my lip that I bit myself 5 times. I want to punch something. Danny says, I would just say to Vitek, look, we can't sell Onana. He's shit, but we want you to stick around and claim his spot. You're speaking to the choir, but I think I'm not disagreeing. If I were in charge, Danny, I'm right there with you. But I worry that PSR is going to kind of force our hand with some of these academy players like Vitek, like any of these guys that you've seen getting in and around the team, Fredrickson, Kokonki, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised to see any of these guys go out for some money because they represent profit. So Raja says they want Kovar back, kind of. Yeah, we're going to have to pay for him. So, yeah, Dubas says 22 is nothing for a goalkeeper. Yeah, I like Lamens a lot. Like I said, it started off with a bang. He is one of the best up-and-comers. Sanjay says, I used to watch a lot of Belgian, Dutch, and German football. Now I focus on United and Ajax. Big up, Sanjay. Yeah, a lot of good players out in the Belgian league, guys. Don't go check those out. Rajat's wearing an Ajax kit right now. That's funny. I have an Ajax kit. You guys know I have a soft spot for Ajax. I've got the 15-16 away over there somewhere. You guys have probably seen me wear it once or twice. I'm wearing the Stone Roses training top right now. So I think that was from earlier this year. So let's move on to my next target. Another one you guys have seen me talk about a little bit so far, but we're going to make sure we talk about him a little bit more. And that is Andre Onana, Real Madrid's backup keeper, 26 years old, really good age for a keeper. Again, very good at stopping those crosses, very good at making those saves. Not very expensive at all. Oops, sorry, I pressed the wrong button. So looking at his numbers, again, good save. Now, again, I got to preface this. These numbers are not from this past year because he was back up to Courtois again. These numbers are from 23-24 because it gives me a better sample size because that's the year Courtois got his big injury and Lunin was basically Madrid's. He was not their number one, basically. So just want to preface that. These numbers that I'm looking at are not for this past year just because it's too small a sample size. I want to make sure that the numbers are fairly represented. So when he's playing, these are his numbers. Good clean sheet record. Look at top 6% for stopping those crosses. Good save percentage as well. Again, the basics of what you need for a keeper. I don't care about the goal kicks and stuff because we don't play fast-paced, counter-attacking football, so you don't need to worry about that. You will have to do it every now and then, but you trust even the crappiest defender to be able to pick a long ball out and make a switch of play with time and space on the ball. Lunin compared to Onana, again, take away, like Onana's literally the thing he's going to look at is just him kicking the ball. That's the only thing he does, and that's just because of volume. It's like Trent Alexander-Arnold putting crosses into the box, and then half of them are not even going to go anywhere near anybody. It's sheer volume. He's just spamming it. But if you look at Lunin's save percentage from that season, again, excellent, like double what Onana's was almost. The crosses are really near the top. Even the pass completion is better. So it doesn't matter how many of those kicks Onana's doing when his pass completion is shit. Does not matter. Now, some of that probably has to do with our attackers just not being great, but still, that's what the stat is. But I do like Andre Lunin a lot. So, again, Real Madrid's backup to Thibaut Courtois, but pretty much it's widely argued and maintained among even the Real Madrid fan base that Lunin deserves a start for a major club. He's too good to be sitting on the bench. Think of like Sergio Romero for us. Too good to be backup. He was so good, Lunin, when Courtois was injured in 23-24, especially if you guys remember that match in the Champions League against Man City. He was basically their man of the match in that one. He was fifth in La Liga that season for prevented goals. He was first when it came to conceding the least goals as well. The problem is with Lunin is that he's also signed a 5-year contract this past year as well, which in my opinion was the stupidest thing he could have done. I don't know why he did that. It's clear it didn't take much to know that when Courtois was back, Lunin was going to be back on the bench. I don't know why he would do that. He could have had his pick of basically any major club. If he would have became a free agent, would have got a nice bonus. It's just dumb. So after being second choice again, though, after a stellar season, I pretty much can be assumed that he might leave this summer. United have been linked to him already, which I like to see. I don't think it's bad to look at Real Madrid's backup when even when he was starting, he was better than a lot of other keepers in Europe, as the numbers just pointed out. It'd probably take around 25 to 35 or so million to get this one over the line, in my opinion. It's the price that I'm seeing out there. Danny says Real would probably bend us over. I think they probably upped that contract to give themselves a little time, but I don't think Madrid are suffering right now financially, and they don't want to sell a ton of players, but they're going to have to. And I think that wouldn't take much. But big up, Usman. Good to see you again. Hopefully you're having a good day, man. Big up, man. You guys are funny. Kai, big up, Kai. Good to see you again, my friend. We're just talking about a little bit of Andre Lunin at the moment here. So But see, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lunin go this summer. It's heavily assumed that he will go this summer. He's not going to just want to waste the best years of his career being back up to Thibaut Courtois. So he probably will go. If Madrid have any balls about him, they're going to take some money and promote someone from the La Masia Academy, or not La Masia, Castilla, and put that into the second team, because there's just no point to this. It's just ridiculous. So I like it a lot, though. It's probably going to be a little more expensive than someone like a Sen Lamon's, probably going to be almost twice as much. But again, get some money for Courtois or Onana, and you've got a little bit to worry about here. Castro says both clubs do need a good goalkeepers. We had De Gea and Sergio Ramos. Yeah, Sergio Romero was excellent. He was in my top 5 for post Sir Alex Ferguson signings. If you guys remember that video that Dylan and I did, he was up there because he was free and he's excellent. He basically won us the Europa League. So, but big up everybody for getting involved. Move on to my next keeper, you guys. Make sure you're hitting that like button if you haven't, and make sure you're subscribed to new. Are we still live? Somebody let me know if we're still live, because yesterday it froze. So moving on, next keeper on my list, Yvan Diouf. Plays for Stade Reims in Ligue 1, now in Ligue 2. 25 years old, very good age. Like I said, he's a sweeper. He's not afraid to come off his line. He's very comfortable with that. Shot stopping is very, very good, Yvan Diouf. So look at his save percentage, literally top 12%. Look at all these touches, launch. So he's a little better at keeping than some of these other guys. So you can see he's a little bit more of a modern keeper, but I would say modern keeper in the vein of like a Hugo Lloris or Emmanuel Neuer 10 years ago, when sweeper keeper was all the rage. Not afraid to come off his line, not afraid to get involved, and clearly not really comfortable with the ball at his feet as well. I like what I see a lot from Diouf. Again, looking at Onana, he's pretty much got Onana beat in pretty much every metric, except for how frequently he launches the ball and just how long he launches the ball when he does. Everything else pretty much beat: pass completion, save percentage, all that stuff. Diouf is very, very good. I like this guy a lot. I've been watching him for a little over a year now, because he kind of broke out a little bit earlier from a young age. Very good young keeper. Under contract for another couple of years, Diouf, but Reims were relegated this season. And so he's already kind of assumed that both Diouf and a couple other of their major players are probably going to be leaving because they don't want to play in the second league in France. Reportedly, he's been talking to Lens. Remember, he played against them and pretty much stood on his head a couple months ago. Made 14 saves, and the 2-0 win for Reims in that match was excellent in that match. I've read that Lille have their eye on Diouf as well in case Chevalier leaves. So a lot of French clubs looking at him. He's a good age, good numbers. I think he'd be an excellent, shrewd piece of business for United. Team of the week once this year, second in the league for saves per 90, first for prevented goals in Ligue 1. Like, the guy is a very good keeper. It'd be difficult to swoop late for Diouf if there's other clubs interested, and especially considering that no one's made any offers. You don't want to be in a situation where you get a keeper and then you've got Onana here, and now you're getting your pants pulled down on a fee for Onana. But especially if Diouf is talking to other clubs. But I think if United were serious about trying to climb that back up the table and try to lock in that back line a little bit, they'd push harder to get Onana out the door, make it clear, listen, you're not in our plans. We appreciate what you've done, but you're gone. We'd push a little, same with Rashford. And then we'd push for an inexpensive, very classy option like Diouf. That's just what I think we should be doing, but I'm not in charge. So it is what it is. Let's see what we got here. Debas says Lunin can be an option if we promise him first team football. The only downside is no. I think he'd rather play than hold out for Champions League football. I mean, he can have his pick of Champions League clubs, but I think it's starting for United in the league domestic cups is better than not starting at all for Madrid, in my opinion. Matata United, welcome back. Since when have Real and Barca struggled financially? Have you not paid attention to Barcelona these last couple of years? They're having bar mitzvahs at the new because they can't afford shit. They're having weddings. They've sold the naming rights to it and everything. I mean, it's ridiculous. They're struggling. They have to keep extending permission from the league just to be able to let Dani Olmo play, which is running out. La Liga president is literally trying to get them in trouble because of what they're doing. They are struggling. They're just jumping through. They're like exercising every little favor, every little loophole they can find, and to get a little bit of an extension on everything. And it's going to come to a head. Danny, Castro says, Yevan Doof, that's a new one on me. Yeah, and that's kind of the point. Not a lot of these guys are going to be players that some of you may be up with, and that's okay. Doesn't mean anything bad. That's why I do this. Now you guys are going to know it. Remember, it all started with Artie Nishari, and now everyone is all over that, and I'm so proud of that. Dana says, could be a cheap deal. Yeah, he could be a very good option, personally. I like him a lot. But big up. Lucky back in the house says Sancho has agreed to move to Napoli. Yeah, I saw some links. Nothing that we haven't already talked about. It's literally just the same rumor over and over again. So, but big up, Lucky. Good to see you again, my friend. We're going to move on to my next target here. We've already talked about this guy a couple times, but we haven't really done a whole lot of in-depth. So this is Marcin Bolka. So plays for Nice, obviously the other club, one of the other clubs that Sir Jim and Ineos own. 25 years old, very good physical. Look at this guy. He looks like a fucking unit. He looks like Captain fucking America, dude. Commands his box. He uses every single bit of his 6'6" frame. The guy is an absolute brick shithouse, dude. He gives me Peter Schmeichel vibes, this guy. Very, very good on pens as well. Like zero nerves at all in this guy. Good save percentage, 70th percentile is well above average. The penalty kicks, well above average as well. His command of the box, though, if you want to look at that, like his defensive actions outside of the box, very good. And then the crosses stopped, also very, very good. I like what I see from this guy a lot. How does he stack up against Onana? Again, crosses stopped, save percentage. The stuff that matters, he's excelling in well above Onana. Again, Onana just kicks the ball. That's the one thing he does and doesn't really complete those passes when he does it. So Bolka's very good. We spoke about him quite a bit, but it bears repeating that the guy is an excellent, excellent keeper. And not just because of his stature that he's giving me Schmeichel vibes. The guy is literally just commands. You guys remember how Peter Schmeichel used to just control that box. He's big, big guy. Look at some numbers. 5 times team of the week this season in Ligue 1 for Bolka. 7th for save per 90. 9th for goals prevented. We've been linked. Aston Villa have been linked. Monaco, Galatasaray have been linked. I think Galatasaray are very, very interested. They did make a big offer, but I don't think he really wants to go to Turkey. Honestly, we should try to get Onana to go to Galatasaray. I think that would fit like a glove personally. But Bolka's contract is up in a year, and he doesn't look like he's going to extend, meaning Nice are likely going to try to take a fee, even a lower one, to at least get something for him. And I think that with Sir Jim owning Nice as well, this is exactly the sort of situation that the multi-club ownership stuff, this is exactly the kind of situation we need to explore more. If City can do it, if Chelsea can do it, if the Red Bull Group can do it, why can't we? We need to start taking advantage of it. These other clubs are going to do this shit and get away with it. We need to take advantage of it too. We have an opportunity here. Reportedly, I don't know if it's a rule or if it's just an agreement, but reportedly Nice and United are basically not going to do any business between each other until September 1st of this year. But the window is still open after that for, I think that's either the last day or the couple days. I think it may have been September 3rd or something, the transfer window closes. So meaning, if we're interested in any Nice players, a deadline day deal could happen. This one could go to the wire if there's something happens with Onana. But again, it all is going to depend on what happens with Andre Onana. Bolka would be cheap, though. Probably less, in and around 20 million pounds is going to get this one done. So again, you're seeing a pattern here. A lot of these keepers can be got for not a lot of money at all. So Danny likes Bolka. The dude is an absolute freaking monster. Yeah, Danny says 100% Schmeichel vibes. Yeah, he's a freaking beast, dude. Tobias says he looks like Rocky IV's Captain Dragoff, but skinnier. That's funny. You will lose. Dan, 10 million if we can do business with Nice. Yeah, and that's the thing. We have to exploit that kind of stuff. 10 million for a goalkeeper 25 who's like, look at the stats and look at the ranking in La Liga. Like, that's such a no-brainer. That could be a better deal than getting Mizraoui for like, what, 12, 15 million? Like, come on. Casper says, got funny feeling we'll keep Onana and buy into or try to get Aston Villa. I hope not. I do hope not. I mean, I'm not all about Emi Martinez whatsoever. Lyle says, will he be able to join United from Nice because Todibo was blocked? Todibo was blocked because of Europa League. And so that was the big issue there, is the clubs were competing in the same competition. This one is just kind of a gentleman's agreement. And multi-club ownership I don't like it personally, but I think if you're going to do it, these are the kind of situations that you need to take advantage of. Now, you get around it by having on paper being able to prove that the same people aren't basically running both your clubs. So Sir Jim's got other people that on paper are just running Nice for him, but running it into the ground if you ask a lot of Nice fans. But I think that this is an opportunity that it's too good to pass up. At least it's too good to not just explore. That's the other one. If he dies, he dies. What did he say in Russian? He's like it's like hitting a piece of iron. That's my favorite Rocky movie. So I think that was the first one I saw. I saw it when I was little. And when I was little, I didn't know that there was a ton of Rocky movies. I just remember watching it and I was like, this is awesome. And then I found out there were a ton of Rocky movies and I was like, oh wow, I gotta watch all of these. After that one though, it does kind of get a little rough, but Rocky 4 is legit. What's your favorite Rocky movie? Let me know in the chat. Lucky says, Sean, we told players to get full moves and players now agree. Yeah, I know. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. Juventus made an offer. Napoli's still interested. I know DiMarcio was talking about it. Romano was talking about it. So Debashi says 21 million is a steal. Yeah. And you'd get him for less probably. So Lyle says, God, didn't quite get what happened there with Tadibo. Yeah, it just seems like we're the ones who kind of get shafted on some of this. Instead, you're like, Savinho, whatever. We'll do what we want. We don't care. But what are you going to do? Moving on to one of my top picks at the moment, because this guy has been just so good. Oops, wrong button. So Unai Simon. So not like the youngest, obviously he's 28, plays for Bilbao, did not play for them in Europe. Remember that was a Gertza Bagala, sorry. And but he's very good. Obviously he's got the experience being 28. He just turned 28 like a week ago, I think, too. Good shot stopping, good at commanding his area. He is the oldest keeper on my list, but for the next 5 or 6 years, Simone would be absolutely immense for us. Like immense for us. Now I know what you're thinking, Sean, you said Emi Martinez was too old. Yes, he is. There's a difference though between spending 40 million on a 33-year-old and then having a keeper who will until he's 33. There's a big difference there. There's a difference like saying buying De Gea when he was 30 versus like having him until he's 30. There's a very big difference. Plus, Simone is better than Emi Martinez by a mile. Look at these numbers. Yeah, there's a lot of green in there. And green is good as far as percentiles go. Save percentage, top 1%. Goals against, top 1%. Clean sheet, top 1%. Saves on penalty kicks, top 15%. Average length of goal kicks, again, not really a big deal, but it's green, so we're going to talk about it. Look at that box command, though. Literally top 20% for cross to stop, average distance. So he's not afraid to come off his line. He's not afraid to stop crosses, but he's not afraid to sweep up a little bit if he needs to as well. The guy's an absolute beast, like beast in every sense of the word. Compared to Onana, it literally looks like Unai Simone's blue blob is a Pac-Man eating Onana's little flimsy stats. Like it literally looks like that. Just someone give him a cherry. This dude is hungry and he is eating Onana's stats like breakfast. But Unai Simon is such a good keeper. 6th for goals prevented in La Liga last season. 1st for as far as not conceding goals goes. He was sidelined for about 4 months. He needed wrist surgery, so that kept him out of action for a while. But he's come back very, very strong. He's contracted till 2029, which is a big if. That's pretty much going to take him to later stages of his career almost. Obviously, keepers can play. Now, whether or not they're still as good in their early mid-30s, that's a whole other question. We've talked about that a couple times already. You guys know how I feel about that. But he's open to a move, reportedly. Second choice keeper, Aguirre Zabala, has impressed. He's been kind of coming in as a cup competitions keeper. He's a younger keeper. Bilbao could be open to selling Simone because they've got a ready-made replacement on their books already. He was heavily linked to a move to Barcelona, but they ended up getting Joan Garcia a little bit, probably because, Joan Garcia is a lot cheaper. He's probably going to be the most expensive option on my list, Unai Simon. He just signed that new contract recently. The price tag before signing a new contract was like 45 million is what I read. So after signing that contract, no pressure to sell. I think he would have to want to leave to basically get that price anywhere close to that. You're probably looking at upwards of like 50, 60 million for this guy these days. He is. But this Unai Simon is the keeper you get when you're prioritizing a keeper, when going into the transfer market, when keeper is your top priority, Unai Simon is the one you get. And really, it's kind of, though, and maybe a little unfortunately for us, he is the keeper that you get when you're at a certain stage of your rebuild. I'm not sure if we're quite there yet to go spend big money on a keeper. I would, but I'm just saying I don't know if United, the rebuilds, it's not just always about get the best, get them now. You have to prioritize. You have to build, not buy. And this is the kind of keeper you get, that when you're like, all right, we've got a lot of the other pieces, our keepers, let's go get the one that we're not going to have to worry about for the next 5-6 years. And that is Unai Simon, like, completely. So Debasi likes Rocky 2. Is that that's the, like, the sequel to the first one, right? Where, of course it's Rocky 2, but like when they fight Apollo again, right? Yeah, okay. Because Mr. T was the third one. And then the fifth one, I don't think anybody wants to remember because that was god awful. But Danny says we get 3 to 4 good years out of Simone. Yeah, he'd be excellent for a good 5 years, in my opinion. I think that his numbers are better than a lot of keepers at that age as well. Casper says Unai Simone is a good goalkeeper. I like him. I'd be surprised if we got him. Can't say. This is not me saying this is who United are looking at. This is me saying who I would want to get. Unai Pac-Man. You guys are funny. Yeah, it is probably a little too much money. Like I said, that's the keeper you get when your rebuild is pretty much really good. Like you've replaced like the majority of your squad. You've got a good squad, and you're like, all right, the last piece of this puzzle is like the keeper, like the top keeper. So probably a pipe dream for me, but it is something that I would look at. But big up everybody for getting involved. All right, last name on my list. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button so far, and make sure you get your picks in here as we come up towards the end here. But last name on my list, again, this is my budget option as well, and that's Alex Merritt. 28 years old. Napoli contract is technically up at the end of this month. Despite reports that Napoli are trying to get him to sign a new deal for the next couple of years, nothing has happened yet. But as you can see, free agent here in a couple weeks, 28 years old, good age, commands the box, very good on pens as well, Merritt. I like this guy a lot. Looking at these numbers again, save percentage could be a little bit better, but 71% is not bad. It's not bad at all. It's still above average. And as you can see, the penalty kicks are very good, and they get a lot of clean sheets. Now, a lot of that can have to do with the players in front of him, but it is an area to look at. But again, it's more because he's free, and his numbers are still better than Onana. And again, coming off his line, defensive actions outside the penalty area and average distance. So he is a sweeper. He is very much a sweeper. Again, spikes on those penalty kick saves, spikes on the pass completion. So he's completing. So if he's kicking a lot of long balls, he's actually completing. So if you look at Onana's average length of goal kicks and launch percentage, but then you look at the pass completion of the percentage, which is at the bottom, like Onana's completion of those long balls, so it's garbage. It's just absolute garbage. Merritt's got him in cross to stop. He's got him in save percentage as well. Like very, very good keeper. And again, like he's very good. Now, he could very well stay at Napoli. He could very well go someplace else. He could do a lot of things, but nothing's happened yet. And so there is an opportunity there, in my opinion. 2 times team of the week for Alex Merritt, led Serie A last season when it came to conceding the least number of goals, which did play a major role in Napoli basically winning the Scudetto and finishing the season with 16 clean sheets as well. He's been linked to Milan. He's been linked to Arsenal. Like I said, Napoli are still trying to get him tied down to a new contract. Now, I've read that Svilar at Roma could leave and join Napoli if Merritt lets his contract run out. That could be the option there. We'll see what ends up happening. I think Napoli are trying to get a lot of players, and if they can keep Merritt around, it would allow them a little bit of financial breathing room for the next couple of years, especially if they're trying to get guys like Sancho or Garnacho, whoever they're trying to get. So on a free, I mean, this could be such a masterstroke from United. There's almost no downside to this at all. He's better than Onana, Scudetto winner. And did I mention, he's a free agent, baby girl. Like this dude, like a free agent. It's hard to turn that down. I could, like, honestly, I'm just this thing going into this summer. I could have easily put together a strong starting 11 with just free agents alone. Like I really could have. Merritt, Kyle Walker-Peters, Jonathan Tah, Olivier Bashali, Sergio Reguilon could have come back. Anguissa at Napoli, another one. Angel Gomez, Josh Brownhill, Rooney Bargi, Thiago Fernandez. Now cheating a little bit on those two there because their contracts technically expire in December, and then Thiago Fernandez had a bad injury, but again, coming in the last 6 months of their contract, and then Jonathan David would have been my striker. Those guys, that would have been an excellent starting 11. Not saying it's like better than City or Liverpool, but better than a lot of players we have now. But I digress. Hope you. Those are just a handful of the keepers that I think United should definitely have on their list, keeping an eye on, and hopefully maybe are just reaching out, putting some feelers out there. Hey, what's your player thinking about? Hey, how much would it cost? La da 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 da. We should be doing that like well ahead of the summer transfer window. They're better than Onana. Not hard to do. Wouldn't be expensive aside from Unai Simon. They have a bit of availability this summer in one capacity or another, whether it's a free agency like Alex Merritt or, open to leaving, basically, talking to other clubs. But, I mean, what do you think? How'd I do with my list? Is there anyone that I missed? Let me know in the chat. I'm going to jump right back in here and see what you guys are doing here. So, Basti says 24 million is 45 for me. And we're used to it. I hope that we're getting past that point. I hope we're not putting up with that anymore. I hope that it's, hey, this is what we're doing. And if not, we're moving on. I think Højlund probably represents, you could say we probably overpaid a little bit for Ugarte, but I think when Ten Hag was the only one running things at the bid right, Casper says, but you're right. I don't know what to write about Casper, but I'll take it. Bach says, surely he stays in Napoli. He might still. Napoli are trying, but so far nothing's happening. And so there is an opportunity there. But again, it all comes down to what happens to Onana. It's hard to know. You don't want to, it's a hard place to be in because you don't want to let it be known that you've necessarily sold a player and you've got this money, because then the price tag for anybody else is going to go up because clubs are going to know you've got money. So as long as you can keep a lot of that stuff on the DL, it is what it is. Because then if you buy a replacement too early, then you might not get as good a deal for Onana. So it's very difficult to balance all that. Debaxi says, cross the stop indicates he's skinny or tiny or massive. We saw that with Marcin Bulka. The dude is freaking monster. Casper says he's a very good keeper. Big up. Sanjay, I don't have a WhatsApp group. Honest to God, Sanjay, I didn't have a WhatsApp group until I started this course with the PFA, and then you kind of had to have it because we did a group project, so I had to communicate with the players and the coaches in my group for a paper and a presentation. So I don't use it that often. I only use it for that, but maybe I should open up something. But you guys, the community tab is always available on the channel. You can always start chats and share your thoughts on the community tab on the channel. So go check that out as well. Tabashi says, out of all these, I think the skinny Ivan Drago I take in that 22-year-old. That's not going away anytime soon. Skinny Ivan Drago, vegan Ivan Drago, we'll call him. No offense to any vegans out there. Casper's off topic. Heard a few rumors. Højlund, Sancho, both to Napoli. Yeah, I saw that earlier too. I mean, it's nothing that we haven't been seeing already for the last couple weeks, which is why I really didn't do a news roundup, because there's nothing really new today. Honestly, we're all waiting for the Mbeumo news. I don't want to do another video on, hey, Mbeumo, Romano said, yeah, we're still talking. We've been saying that for 2 weeks now, so it's not anything new. So what are you going to do? We need Qatar, says Vanya Milinkovic-Savic. Yep, we've talked about him a couple times. Now, some of the keepers I didn't do too in depth because we've already done a little bit of mini scout reports on them in the past, like Carnesecchi, which we just did yesterday. Chevalier, we've already done. I've already gone through Emi Martinez about why I don't want to sign him. But yeah, we did talk a little bit about Vanya Milinkovic-Savic when we were first linked a couple weeks ago. But big up, good shout for sure. Welcome to the channel. We need Qatar. Good to see a new face as always. Tobias says maybe loan Vitek and not take the 22-year-old. I mean, Vitek's already been on loan. He's 21, 22-ish now. He was one of the best keepers at BW Lynch last season. He's going to want first-team football, and he really deserves first-team football. Now, the question is he good enough for that United? I'm all for trying to convince him to stay for a year, but he's going to have to play. Like that, he just has to. That was a big reason why we lost Dean Henderson, because he just wasn't playing. And Dean Henderson, what was he, 25, 26 at the time? Guys, they want to play. If you can't convince Vitek that he's going to get minutes, and we saw this season that even Binder, who was a lot older and was a first-team keeper, wasn't getting minutes, players are going to look at that and say, I don't know how I feel about that. So it is what it is. Yeah, Debasi thinks he's going to Napoli. Yeah, I read, who else did I read? Roma, I thought I want to say there. So Castro says, I was saying you was right if you list a goalkeeper list. Yeah, no, I totally got that one. So Tobias says, I forgot that he could be a good backup for now. Yeah, if you can convince Vitek to stick around and be a backup, I'd be all for that. Save some money. But he just has to play. So you'd have to make a decision to do like the De Gea Romero thing where you're going to say, okay, Andre, you can either play in the leagues and Vitek's going to get the cups or vice versa. But I think it's just too hard. Sanjay says, I'm actually going to Serbia this Thursday, going to visit the stadiums. Big up, Sanjay. Safe travels, my friend. Hopefully you have a good time. So let me know if there's anyone I missed, anyone we haven't touched upon, anyone we haven't been linked with that you'd like to see. I will go ahead and look at them after the fact. You guys know I always check the comments. But that's my list. I think it's a good, solid list. Not too expensive other than Unai Simon, but you always got to throw the one pricey one. I always throw a pricier option in there, whether it's someone like Teo Hernandez or something last summer when Luke Shaw was injured, or who's the dude at Leverkusen? I always forget his name now, the center back at Leverkusen. He's another one that center back that I thought could be a good Leacher replacement. Going to be crazy expensive. So there's good players out there, good keepers. I do think keepers should be a priority. I said that going into the summer. I've lost all faith in Onana. Just it didn't take long. And the guy's only been here 2 years, and I'm already over it. So that says a lot. But let me know what you think in the comments, you guys. Please, please, please go check out all the links in the description, including that charity that my wife is doing. They're raising money, fundraising for Michigan Animal Welfare Foundation for the shelter that she works at. There is a link to that in the description of the video. Links to the UVE store, GoGoalShop, Fubo, Fanatics, Kitbag. It's all in there. Go check it out. If you want to look at gear, you want to look at your streaming your matches, and then the charity. Any little bit helps for the charity. Again, if you can't contribute yourself, there's no pressure, no judgment. Share it. Somebody else might want to. And then anything the channel gets from the store, sales, super chats, memberships, all that will go towards that charity as well. But appreciate everybody getting involved. Svilar, yeah, we saw him. I'm not super convinced on Svilar as well, but I'll look into his numbers again and see how they look. Lyle says, check out Ronwin Williams. You're laughing. Is that a joke? Is that a joke? Let me know. Debat says Chevalier could be an option too. He wants to play. Does he want to play in the EPL? He would cost a lot of money though, I think. But maybe we could throw a player at. But didn't we read the other day that he could be available for like 40 million? Is that what the rumor that I saw there? So, Casper says you could see Boca sign for another Premier League. Yeah, Villa are linked, and obviously Villa are going to be losing Emi Martinez. So keep an eye on Villa. Keep an eye on Newcastle, Chelsea. Keep an eye on City as well. I did see some rumors last month that City could be getting Diogo Costa as an Ederson replacement. So could be some goalkeepers making some moves this summer. Like I said, Newcastle, Villa for sure going to be getting one. Potentially Chelsea as well. So it's going to be interesting. So, but thank you guys for checking that out. Please make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you are new. You guys know I love doing the scouting videos. I have a blast doing it. It's a little bit of the nerd side of me, but I know that I just enjoy it. So we need Qatar says, could you see Jan Oblak leaving? Potentially. Yeah, he could potentially leave for sure. And then Atletico Madrid definitely could be looking at someone too. I like Oblak. I just think it's a little, it's probably about 5-6 years too late. To really get the best years of Oblak. He is a little bit more of that old school, that De Gea shot stopping. I think he's a little bit more of a physical presence than De Gea in terms of, not being afraid to come off his line. That was always something I was a little critical of De Gea, but what are you going to do? Danny says, cheating. Who's cheating? Uh-oh. Anyway, you guys, I appreciate everybody stopping by. Hold on. I'll do a couple more chats. Hold on. Lyle says, South African goalkeeper made the Ballon d'Or top 50. Interesting. I'll have to look into him, man. Jan Oblak, how old is Oblak? He's got to be like De Gea's age, right? He's got to be like 32, 33, something like that. I'm going to look it up real quick while we're live because that's how we do this. You guys run the show. I'm just kind of here to facilitate and guide things along. So Oblak, he's Slovenian, isn't he? He's 32 now, so he'll be 33 in January. So still a decent keeper, but he definitely probably on the decline, but big up, you guys. Again, let me know what you think, what your options would be, and then I'll take a look at them. But until then, enjoy your Saturdays. Try to stay cool if it's too hot. Try to stay warm if it's too cold. And if there's any other news coming out, maybe in Buemo, who knows? I will be back, of course, to get your thoughts on all that. But enjoy your Saturday, you guys. Thank you for stopping by, share a little bit of mine. And go check all the stuff in the description again. I know I keep saying it, but it is all super cool and or super important. So big up, everybody. Take it easy, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.